The Smooth Breakfast presents the headlines, the stories, the
The
news,
work is I need you to come this way.
in-depth analysis of national current affairs. Freshly pressed on Smooth 98.1.
Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. I'm Ayo Myro SA. And it is time for us to give you detailed analyses of today's national news headline stories. Joining me this morning, I have Devo Okorie. Good morning, Devo.
Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, AY. Cool. Don't ever use the word smart on me again.
We didn't get that.
That's international politics.
If you know, say it. I mean, I didn't hear the.
Don't ever use the word smart on me
Oh, right.
again.
Okay. All right. What time did you go to bed this morning?
Eh? Some people are not that smart.
All right, excellent. If you want to join today's conversation, we'd love for you to do so. Send your message to WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. On WhatsApp, we are, or on Twitter, we are Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag freshly pressed 981. And then on YouTube, we're streaming live today. So please go on to youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos. Our first story is from the Punch newspaper. Reps withdraw water bill as lawmakers clash. Members of the House of Representatives on Tuesday clashed over the controversial National Water Resources Bill. Members of the House, mostly from the southern part of the country, and the opposition People's Democratic Party raised various legal and procedural issues on the bill. Despite efforts by northern colleagues to save the bill, the PDP members and other opponents of the bill forced the Speaker, Femi Gbadabiamila, to order its withdrawal and reintroduction. Devo, please give your thoughts on this story.
Well, it was almost a rowdy session, although not as rowdy as the debates this morning, when the House members more or less came to a conclusion to take out or step down the bill that was, in better words, causing an obnoxious scenario within the country, and we're referring to the water bill. Which bill is that? That is the water bill by lawmakers, which, if you know before now, it had been brought back into the House for consideration, okay? And it was so controversial. But during yesterday's hearing, some of the senators, some of the reps that were for it, wanted to read it completely, but some people clashed, especially representatives from the South. They raised a point of order, Rule 12 and 3, stating that the bill had not been gazetted, and if so, it shouldn't be put on the floor of the House. However, those who were for it did state that it was gazetted within the 8th Assembly. That was during Saraki's time. And at that time, they remembered when it was shared amongst people. Well, some still said that, well, if they meet their constituencies, there's no way they'll be able to defend that that bill was read on the House without them being able to produce it for them. Well, they went back and forth, and at the end of the day, the Speaker did rule on the matter, and it was stepped down until it was properly gazetted. Even though, if it was gazetted in the first time in the 8th Assembly, it must be re-gazetted in the 9th Assembly. But the truth is this: behind this bill lied a lot of contention, okay? And this had to do with the federal government's move, in their own words, to reform water management and control within Nigerian borders, okay? Whereby the federal government would have taken over the water resources, both land and surface and underground water resources within the country, without touching the land, okay, around the nation, of which some, what do you call it, control measures and regulations were being put in place. even a regulatory commission for those who um, excavate water or drill water on commercial volumes. However, they said it wouldn't affect domestic use and all of that. But many reactions came, especially from those within the South, who saw that as some kind of clandestine move by the federal government to seek for more resource control. Also, in a world and in a dimension where the Nigerian government is trying to decentralize, trying to liberalize, trying to cede power and control to the states and the regions, we now see them coming up with this. It does not align itself with the way the country is going. I mean, you could see the moves with the exchange, the moves with the fuel price, the moves with the electricity tariff. So, federal government, what really happened? But as always, whatever the executive do, it must get the approval of the House of Reps and Senate, and in this case, it hasn't. So let's see whether they will continue gazetting it or they will leave it and think of another great idea.
All right. All right, thank you very much. MI from Africa says, I don't know the argument at the National Assembly trumps what we saw earlier this morning. On the water bill, it's a good first step to step it down, but it's sad that lack of proper communication and trust deficit continues to haunt this administration. Engagement of stakeholders is something many of our leaders don't rate. All right, let's move on to Premium Times. Nigeria develops own kit to test for COVID-19. This is wonderful news, Devo. In order to prove its improved testing capacity for COVID-19, the Nigerian government has developed a molecular test kit named the SARS-CoV-2 isothermal molecular assay, with SEMA as its acronym. Now, the Minister of State for Health, Olorunimbe Mamowa, made this known at the bi-weekly PTF Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 briefing on Tuesday. So one of the biggest highlights of this is that the test is able to produce results in less than 40 minutes, which is a lot faster compared to the reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction, that's the RT-PCR, which is currently used, and that takes up to a few hours for results to come. Beyond the speed by which results would be produced is also the importance of the fact that now we know that we can then have more tests as it's a lot cheaper and it's produced locally. What's it, please?
Well, very, very good news, actually, because this is the journey of self-actualization as a nation, where we're able to resolve our own issues, okay, and levels of sufficiency, because we are failing in that regard. And that's why you see the huge import bill, whereby practically things that we can do for ourselves, we have to import or seek services elsewhere. And it's not even a joke anymore. It's created industries to the tune of what they call medical tourism and what's the other one, religious tourism and all of that. But the Minister of Health in the bi-weekly presidential task force briefing, COVID-19 briefing on Tuesday, did declare that the Nigerian government, more or less he's introducing, had developed a molecular test kit named SARS-CoV-2 isothermal molecular assay, okay, SIMA. Now, he said this test kit was developed by the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, NIMR, and it's claimed to produce results in less than 40 minutes, all right? So speed is one advantage here because it's faster than the current PCR testing, which had been the main source of testing for the country, which takes about several hours to produce results. Now, and it can also, that's the test can be performed by low-skilled personnel with minimum training. So, I mean, this is just a double whopper for Nigeria. We're able to produce something that saves us time as well as ease of use, all right? Now, and then thirdly, I'm sorry, not double, it's a triple, triple benefit position here. It costs 10 times less than the PCR, okay? Although I think it's more like a quarter because the PCR test, the last time I understood it was about at $20. This comes at about $4 to $5. Now, That's about 2,500 naira, thereabouts. Now, as you know, Nigeria has been struggling with testing, and in this period, even the PTF, that's the transit committee, had mentioned that our numbers seem to have been coming down. Claims were even said that our curve has been bent, but the
So
truth
we're
is,
approaching it being
yes,
flattened. Yeah.
we're approaching a flat curve. But the truth is, we're not testing as much anymore. That's one. Two, many people are not even willing to go for the testing anymore. And that's why some isolation centers are being shut down. Well, is this an indicator of whether we've been able to defeat or we're on our progress to overcoming the pandemic within Nigeria? Time will tell. What we do know is that the numbers of death in this nation, that's Nigeria, has not been as high as claimed by other nations globally. Also, our recovery rate seems to be higher than that of most nations because many of the people who have caught COVID, I think, up to about above 80% have recovered from it. So I think we've done quite well as a nation. Maybe other nations need to be collecting our DNA. You know, we seem to have this,
Divo, I'm
never
very
die
mindful.
spirit. And
I'm very mindful of making statements like that. You know
but
why?
but we've proven
The
ourselves. I
reason
mean,
I'm saying that is because go to the streets, you'll see
yes.
the man on the street laughing at the fact that coronavirus is not real. So they don't take safety precautions. People don't wear masks anymore. Thankfully, you're wearing one, so you're still the almost
Agreed,
1% of
agreed.
the
But
1%.
we have to state the facts. Remember, there was a high threat which saw the nation go through a lockdown like other nations
Yeah.
with the belief, and some had even said in some quarters that they see dead bodies. Now, thank God that even though we're seeing some factors that we can't medically ascertain to, but from the medical point of view, Nigeria is able to develop its own therapeutic testing as well as treatments so that at the end of the day, as a nation, we can keep ourselves healthy and
Let's
survive
sustain
this.
this. Please continue to wear your mask. Please continue to maintain social
Yes,
distance.
what I would say is that people should continue their personal precautionary measures,
Yes.
okay? Like washing hands, which is very important where you can. And if you do have a mask or sanitizer, ensure that you use it for your own sake and for those around you.
Yes, thank you. The reason that we have to highlight this is because we know that in some nations of the world, there's a second wave and they're having to go back to lockdown. I know Europe, some parts of Europe, America. So we don't want that again. So
Nope.
yes, thankfully we've been able to, the numbers have reduced. However, let them not spike again. As at this morning, we know that 49,937 cases have been discharged of 58,460 infections thus far, and 1,111 deaths in Nigeria. Let's move on to our next story, and this is from This Day newspaper. Okay, all right. We'll go to the one from the New Telegraph. The New Telegraph has this report that the Christian Association of Nigeria says to the federal government to cut governance costs and revisit confab report. So Nigeria marks 60 years of independence tomorrow, and the Christian Association of Nigeria has called on the federal government to take deliberate steps to reposition the country's economy. They called for a reduction in the cost of governance, proposed a revisit to the 2014 National Conference report, and asked the president to immediately sign the electoral bill. So many topics around Nigeria at this time, of course, because tomorrow we're going to be celebrating 60 years of independence, and a number of bodies have come out to speak as to what they believe is priority for the nation. Please, Divo, take us through what the Christian Association of Nigeria are proposing.
Well, the Christian Association of Nigeria are, as usual, sending their own recommendations as to what they believe the country should be at. And before we go into those recommendations, what they mentioned was that the resources being enjoyed by beneficiaries of this nation belong to all: education, security, and business. And many people within the country were not receiving this. In their words, where our youth are becoming increasingly vulnerable to criminality and absence of gainful employment or job opportunities, they should be sensitive to the yearnings and groanings of the governed. Okay, the era of asking people to tighten their belts while those in power are loosening theirs should stop. And they added also that the state government should give a sense of belonging to all citizens, irrespective of their religious, tribal, and political at the expense of the other, in favor of one religion at the expense of the other, will only deepen the crisis of polity. Well, the truth is, these are the views of the Christian Association of Nigeria. And but what we know is that Nigeria is for us all, okay? And what that means is that tomorrow, starting from today, as usual, we must all ask ourselves a pertinent question that is this country working for us? Nigeria at 60, is Nigeria working for you? You know, the logo that the federal government released had a diamond on it, and diamond presupposes wealth, presupposes well-being. And one would ask themselves, because government can no longer speak from their own position. Government must speak from the position of an average Nigerian. We're 180 million plus if we're not crossing 200 million. The pandemic exposed the fact that we cannot feed ourselves as a nation, despite the fact that we had uh, uh, oil earnings in excess of over 100 billion for years. Okay, we've had opportunities that have been wasted. All right, and we've also had opportunities that we've gained. But at the end of the day, on average, for the resources, manpower, and solid minerals that we have, I don't think we have done well as a nation. And this is now trumped and coupled by the fact that we're at loggerheads with each other on many levels. On the religious level, which seems we haven't seemed to find harmony. On the ethnic level, we're at cutthroat lengths. Why? Okay, now the Christian Association of Nigeria did recommend that the President Muhammad Buhari-led administration should do two things. They need to revisit the National Conference, the Confab report, as well as passing the electoral bill, because those two items contain a lot of reform, a lot of restructuring, especially where it concerns one, the electoral bill, okay, where it has to do with, and I have to give INEC thumbs up. They seem to have been taking, in short, without waiting for the bill to pass, they've been taking some steps,
Yes,
which
they
we have,
have.
especially with electronic voting
Yeah.
or electronic means, the Z card, etc., and co, which we saw how it paid off in the Edo elections. Hopefully, we'll see more of that in the Ondo elections. And the Confab bill speaks to a lot of the thorny issues within the country. And this is a flack on our National Assembly because that's where the work is done. How are we governed? Democracy is about you and me agreeing on how we are governed. So I say this because tomorrow is our Independence Day. Don't just complain about it. Raise the issues. Know the issues that affect you.
Yes.
And know the people that you need to work with and work and mount pressure on to ensure that at some point Nigeria begins to work for you. So this country is for you and me. It's not for a few people. It's for you and me.
All right. Thank you. Emeka from Amowo, going back to the COVID-19 story, says that I think there should be a thorough research when the pandemic is over on why there are lower deaths in Africa compared to other places. That would be very interesting. I can't but agree with you, Emeka. Let's move on to the Punch newspaper's report on courts hearing they hear the suit against Lagos Okada ban December 15. So the Federal High Court in Lagos has fixed December 15, 2020 to hear a suit praying for the reversal of the ban placed by the Lagos state government on the operations of commercial motorcycles and tricycles, popularly known as Okada and Keke Mara, respectively in parts of the state.
Yes, if you remember some time ago, the Lagos state government moved through its assembly to ban the activity of commercial bike riders, okay? That's Okada and Keke in about 15 commercial local governments, all right? Now, this had superseded the former position law that I think that was laid by Fashola that mentioned that bikes above 200 cc could operate. So it saw the removal and the dumping of some of the new branded operators that were in town and that were creating a real reform in that market. As of that time, the Lagos State government, I think they cited some security concerns. However, Lagos-based lawyer Julius Ajibulu, who filed a suit before the Justice Chuka Obiozo court, said that the ban on keke marijuana without replacement and alternative means of transport had subjected Lagosians to untold hardships and taken away a source of livelihood for the operators. He claimed that the ban had a harsh attendant job loss that led to the massive unemployment and escalation in the rates of crime and insecurity in Lagos State. So he was seeking damages of up to a billion naira, as well as a public apology in the newspapers. I think another lawyer, Olukoya Ogungbeje, is also the Federal High Court praying that the ban be reversed. I still say that the state government did not carry stakeholders completely because I think it became a shock. Some would say, how well have we fared since the ban? Okay.
Well, Shegun, before you even go, how have you? Shegun says Okada ban, which ban? They're still all over the place. In the roads,
that's why I said 15 local governments were.
No, I think they were including local governments where the Okadas.
What we've seen is an ease of that enforcement, okay? But the truth is, in some certain locations, they will be apprehended if they cross it, and many of them are already aware. And we've seen this happen time after time for political reasons. However, one thing is this: for a commercial capital, for the largest black nation in the world, which is black city in the world, which is Lagos, with over 20 million individuals, okay? Lagos must be proactive, and this is the important part. If you're going to stifle a certain means of transport, especially in the lower mass market segment of our city, you must provide equal and if not better qualitative mass transport services for Lagosians.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That's one of the things they're praying the courts to consider, the fact that the Lagos State government didn't provide an alternative. 800 houses to go as Lagos proposes $2.2 billion for fourth Mainland Bridge. We have progress report on the fourth Mainland Bridge from the Guardian newspaper. The Lagos State government is proposing the sum of $2.2 billion for the construction of the 37.4 kilometers fourth Mainland Bridge. Upon completion, the bridge would have 2x4 lane carriageway cross-sectional road with allowance for BRT lane and future road expansion. I believe that if you can, please do read this report because it's detailed. It details some of the things that will happen once the construction commences, what it hopes to do, and where it will run from and through.
Yes, it's a very very informative story, and I'm very impressed because this is one of the infrastructure promises that this administration came in with. It's proposed at the sum of $2.2 billion, okay, for the construction of a 37.4 kilometer fourth mainland bridge. Now, this comes as against the current edifice of the third mainland bridge, all right? Now, the fourth mainland would become second only to the October Bridge in Cairo, Egypt, as the longest toll plaza existing.
By the way, there are going to be 3 toll points on this fourth mainland bridge.
Now, 800 houses expected to be cleared during this construction, with 4,000 against 4,000 houses earmarked for demolition. So I think they reduced the number. This was declared by the state governor through the who was speaking, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, that's the deputy, at a stakeholder meeting on environmental, social impact, and assessments for the bridge held in Ikeja. All right, now the 3 sections of the bridge which have inter exchanges are the island section, the lagoon section, and the mainland section. All right, now it's a strategic highway infrastructure, and might I say, some will be wondering where Lagos State is getting $2.2 billion from. It's a PPP. So the last PPP, well, another day we'll discuss how that went. But the truth is, private investors being called, and they're looking at 6 consortiums who are expected to submit their RFP, that is request for proposal, which would be reviewed for their financial and technical methodologies till they come down to about 2 reserved bidders. But what this means, okay, let's break down the English, is that at least there will be free passage from the major lockdown, because currently the ocean economy and transports of Lagos is not as buoyant. Many people still use cars and trucks and buses for now. So with the fourth mainland bridge, we should be able to cut from Lekki straight into the mainland,
Straight to Korodu.
straight to Korodu area, which should help, especially those traveling with goods and cargo.
Right. I think beyond building bridges, Divo, we need to also consider and push building what you mentioned, rail, other alternative forms of transport. I know they're doing, quite good work with waterways, but it's still not sufficient for the insane. Morning, Ayo, according to the last statistics available to us from the last census conducted, the population of Kano supersedes that of Lagos. Therefore, Kano is the most populous black city in the world, and not Lagos. I think he mentioned, yes, I think Divo, what you were going to say was the commercial capital of the most populous black nation.
Black city. No, where is that captured? Where did
That
Kano
Kano-
exceed? Look, I think Kano has more local governments,
No,
but
people, I think.
it's
Human
not
people.
possible. I mean, where,
According
how?
to the last census,
There are no, not just statistics.
except it's
So
changed
many
since then.
factors do not support that Kano has a larger population than
Let's not
Lagos.
go into that.
But
debate
yes, it is a
today.
very political and economic and statistical point of debate.
All right. Olabode says, I inquired from some of the Okada riders in Aguda. They said the police collect a fee before they start the day's operations. They stay along the road like the area boys without proper uniform
Roger.
to collect this money.
So it's created more rent seeking. And that's the
Exactly,
problem
yeah.
with government. Whenever you ban something, you create an open door for rent seeking.
Exactly. CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria Men's Health Care Sector Intervention Scheme. And they've amended the guidelines for the operation of the healthcare sector research and development intervention scheme, which was earlier introduced in May. We talked about it here, to help strengthen the public healthcare system with innovative financing of research and development as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, some
Please
of
give us
the
update.
interventions that the government had done to strengthen local capacity, okay? And here the health sector research and development intervention scheme, okay, coming from the CBN was amended that one, the National Biotechnological Development Agency would have a nominee to review and evaluate submitted proposals, okay? Secondly, the amendment included medical devices as part of research intervention. They are now also eligible for the scheme. Now, thirdly, they said that if you are working on a ongoing vaccine or therapy, which has reached late preclinical and early clinical testing trials, it would be eligible for consideration for the scheme, okay, if considered to have high potentials to cross the clinical trial stage, all right? Fourthly, the research and pharmaceutical manufacturers are expected to retain about a substantial 80% of their drugs and medical devices if they are funded by the government. So it doesn't mean because government is funding it that they will lose ownership of that. They're expected to file in a patent to protect the commercialization upon the licensing, right? Now, so that people understand, this scheme was designed to trigger intense national R&D activities. R&D, that's a word that is very scarce in Nigeria. R&D refers to research and development. That is the difference between the emerging and developing world and the advanced nations. We seem not to apply research and development. So this was meant to ginger this locally for vaccines, drugs, herbal medicines, communicable and non-communicable disease, biotechnological and pharmaceutical research and development. I am very thrilled at this because it's the little that we do that makes the big difference, not only for our nation as we celebrate 60 years, but for Africa as a whole. Big brother Nigeria needs to wake up.
All right. Thank you very much, Divo. Right, let's move. Just to mention, as our time is up, judge urges counsel to prepare for speedy trial of El Zaki. That's in the Guardian newspaper. Daily Time reports that the United Nations have now weighed in on the death sentence of Yahya Sharif Aminu, a singer who was recently sentenced to death for blasphemy in Kano. In the headline, "Music is not a crime, UN push for release of singer sentenced to death." And that's it on Freshly Pressed for this morning. Join us at 9 o'clock for Lagos Talks 981. We have been having a robust conversation as we look forward to Nigeria at 60 officially tomorrow, the 1st of October 2020. You can find Devo at Devo Kore on Twitter. Find us at Smooth 981 FM on Twitter.
Smooth 98.1.
Don't go anywhere.
It's 8 o'clock. Make tomorrow better today.
Thank you, Devo. Thank you, Devo.
Now, so,
Devo.
yes,
Devo.
yes, darling.
Don't. Yes, darling, please.
Mm.